Welcome back to another episode of our Kings related podcast, wherever you may be. And this recap of the Kings 143 120 loss on this Saturday evening in New York to the New York Knicks. And quite frankly, the Kings really weren't in this game. Again, the 143 is the most points the Kings have given up, excluding that double overtime win that they had against Miami earlier this season. But the Kings are now 1-10 when allowing 130 plus points this season. And this is the first time this season that the Kings have given up 140 points in a game. And again, excluding that game against the Miami Heat in double overtime. But that happened twice of all of last season against Milwaukee. That game was in overtime last year, and then against the who was that? It was the Boston Celtics. So yeah, and this is the sixth time in under Doug Christie that the Kings have given up 120 plus points in a game. And in the 31 games under Mike Brown, the Kings have done that 7 times, and 2 of those were in overtime under Mike Brown. But the Kings in this one, they got off to a slow start, and against a really good New York Knicks team. And coming into this game, the Knicks, they really haven't been playing that great coming into this game. They kind of been up and down, but they last played Tuesday against the Brooklyn Nets, and the Knicks put up 38 points in that first quarter. It was a slow start for Sacramento in this game, and the Kings pretty much were playing catch up from the game. They did make a run. They were down as much 19 in that first half. They did make a run in that second quarter. They scored 42 points in that second quarter, thanks to Malik Monk, who caught fire in that second quarter, and also talking to some of the fans there in New York as he was hitting shots. Domantas Sabonis, again, he had a triple-double in this game in his 34 minutes of action. 24 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists, 11 of 14 from the field for Sabonis. Malik Monk, again, he got it going there in that second quarter when the Kings made their run. 31 points for Monk, 9 assists, 4 of 8 from 3 in this game. And by the way, Malik Monk's career high, 45 points. So a little off his career high. Keegan Murray in this game, 8 rebounds, 12 points, 5 of 11 from 3. DeMar DeRozan in his 35 minutes of action, 18 points, 6 of 12 from the field. And I thought in this game, it was a physical game. And that's the way the New York Knicks play. They are a very physical team. And for for you to get the whistle, you gotta show it to the official. Make the officials blow the whistle. And I think a lot of the times in this game, there was some questionable calls that the Kings were not getting when the Knicks would foul. But hey, that's the New York Knicks. They were a very physical team. So, and then De'Aaron Fox, you can tell that he's got a pinky injury. He's got a problem with his pinky on one hand. He's got a thumb injury on his other hand. And last time I checked, folks, you need both hands to play basketball. And in 34 minutes, De'Aaron Fox, 6 of 20 from the field, 14 points for De'Aaron Fox. And, with this, the Kings in the middle of this, so Monday would be the third game of this 6-game trip. Should the Kings sit De'Aaron Fox for a couple games and let him rest up? Because if you really have those injuries and you need both your hands to play basketball, it's common sense. And his shots, a lot of his shots tonight, they looked short coming off his hands that hit the rim. And I wonder if a lot of that's got to do with the injuries that he has with his pinky, his thumb. So just a suggestion, should maybe De'Aaron Fox maybe get a rest here to maybe heal up and get better? Because hey, for where the Kings want to go, you're gonna need De'Aaron Fox, and you're not gonna get there with a 50% De'Aaron Fox. You need a 100% Fox to get where you want to go this season. So one change we saw in this game was Doug McDermott got that call off the bench in those Kevin Huerter minutes, 9 minutes, and nothing. No points, no rebounds, no assists, no field goals. I don't think he touched the ball once. So he just got the bright lights there of that Madison Square Garden. Not much off this bench tonight for the Kings. You had Keon Ellis, 6 points. Trey Lyles, 6 points. And that was pretty much it for the Kings on that bench. But the New York Knicks had 40 assists in this game on 52 field goals. Then they shot nearly 50% from the field. You had Josh Hart, I love Josh Hart in his game. 20 points, 18 rebounds, 11 assists for Josh Hart. You had Jalen Brunson, who added 25 points and 11 assists to go with the scoring. And then you got OG Anunoby, who was big for the Knicks. 33 points. And he had, he was 12 of 18 shooting tonight. And both the Knicks ranked 30th in the bench. The Kings are 28th. This game tonight was whose starters would play better. And in this game, the Knicks starters played better than the Kings. And look at, you got Karl Anthony Towns, 18 points, 15 rebounds, a double-double for Towns. Mikal Bridges, 5 of 7 from the 3. He was 10 of 15 from the field. He had 7 assists, 5 rebounds, 27 points. And again, nothing much from the bench. You did have Landry Shamet, who early in that first half got it going, but nothing since. Nothing after that. It was the Knicks starters outdid the Kings starters, and you're not going to win. And a lot of that had to do with the Kings getting off to that slow start, and you cannot do that against a really good team like the New York Knicks. Again, you had the New York Knicks. I just said it, 40 assists in this game. They dominated the offensive rebounds in this game. 17 offensive rebounds for the Knicks in this game. And then you had the Knicks, 36 defensive rebounds. They dominated you on the boards. Completely unacceptable. And a lot of that has to do with the Kings, as small as they are. Like, you got to get more size on this basketball team going up against a team like the New York Knicks, who you got Josh Hart, who's an unbelievable rebounder. Plus you got Towns, you got OG Anunoby. Like, this is not a great team to go up against when you're undersized, like you are in the Sacramento Kings. Again, 21 fast break points for the New York Knicks. Kings, 13. So, not a great night for the Kings, coming off that loss the other night in Denver on that second night with back-to-back. And the good thing is here, the Kings stay in New York. You got the Brooklyn Nets on Monday night. So hopefully you can rebound, regroup, work on some things, because the Kings here in these last two games have not looked like the Kings team that we saw before they left for this road trip. So, bad defense. Again, you allow 143 points. And then you got a bad De'Aaron Fox. You need a healthy De'Aaron Fox, as I said it earlier. So, not a great night for the Sacramento Kings in New York against the Knicks. Hopefully you can redeem yourself, because you got the Brooklyn Nets on Monday, and then you got the Philadelphia 76ers on Wednesday. So it was a tough time in New York. So, and you can't fall behind early and expect to climb your way back into this game against that team in the New York Knicks. But you did have a slight delay in this game with the rim. After I think it was OG Anunoby who had that. He had a dunk where he hung on the rim. Looked like the rim maybe wasn't centered. And I thought, with the momentum swinging towards the Knicks, maybe this delay would be good for Sacramento. No, it just helped the New York Knicks. So, Kings fall 143 to 120. Again, the good, Domantas Sabonis, triple-double. Malik Monk played a great game. And it was he was the main reason why the Kings closed that Knicks gap there in that second quarter. And then you got Keegan Murray and DeMar DeRozan. The bad in this game, Keon Ellis. The Keon Ellis minutes. Keon was limited to 17 minutes in this game. Again, only 6 points off the bench on 4 shots. Plus, he had a rebound and a steal. But Keon Ellis simply is too important to this basketball team to be played limited minutes. So that's a bad. The offense was not great tonight in this game. Not enough offense. I thought for most of this game, there was not enough movement. Too much one-on-one on the offensive side. I thought a lot of the times it was too stagnant on the offensive end. No free-flowing. So I thought that was bad tonight. The ugly De'Aaron Fox. Again, it's just the fifth game. Quiet night for De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox was bad tonight. He was really bad. So, as I mentioned, De'Aaron Fox, he entered this game with an injury on his thumb, where he suffered in that game against the Nuggets. And that thumb injury on the opposite hand, so on his right, his pinky injury is on his left, I believe. Even though Fox has played through the pinky injury all season, I appreciate him playing through it, his toughness, but he's not helping this team when he's not 100%, as I mentioned before. I think, in my opinion, I think it would be best if they sat De'Aaron maybe for a couple games, maybe, to let him heal up and rest up, because you need 100% of De'Aaron Fox going forward. Again, 14 points, 4 assists. That's not De'Aaron Fox. That is not the De'Aaron Fox that we need, where he's only giving you 14 points in this game. Another part of this game that was ugly, the Kings' defense. Truly a terrible defensive showing in this game. It was just bad defense. And it showed when you give up 143 points to the New York Knicks. And the New York Knicks took advantage in this game. They did, because that's what really good teams do against when you play bad defense. So, can the Kings recap and get their first win on Monday against the Brooklyn Nets? We will see. But the Kings are now 23-22. I believe they're that final play-in spot as we speak in the Western Conference. So, and if the Phoenix Suns score holds tonight, they will be that final play-in spot in the West in 10th. So, Kings fall. Just a couple of scores. A look around at scores around the NBA on this 14-game Saturday night. In the second game in Paris, you had the Indiana Pacers beating the Spurs. Really not a close game. You had the Minnesota Timberwolves taking it to the Denver Nuggets in Minnesota. You had the Boston Celtics just take it to Dallas in that game this afternoon. You have the Miami Heat on a day where the Brooklyn Nets retired the jersey of Vince Carter. The Heat defeat the Nets in this game. The Orlando Magic beating the Detroit Pistons, and it was a battle against two teams that kind of go in opposite directions. You got the Detroit Pistons playing some really good basketball there in the East, and then you got the Orlando Magic, who have fallen here as of late. You got the Charlotte Hornets getting a big home win against the Pelicans, blowing them out. And then you got the Houston Rockets, really good win against the best team in the East, the Cleveland Cavaliers. You got the Toronto Raptors win another game over the Atlanta Hawks. Bad loss for the Hawks in that game. 117-94. Then you got the Memphis Grizzlies. Don't sleep on this Grizzlies team. In the Western Conference, they beat the Utah Jazz. And then you got the Philadelphia 76ers. Take it to the Chicago Bulls in the Windy City. And that's a Sixers team that's right now out of that play-in spot in the Eastern Conference. So it should be interesting to see what some of these teams do as we approach the deadline here coming up in I think it's a week in this next week or two. So like Philadelphia, like what's Philadelphia gonna do at the deadline? New Orleans, are they gonna move some of those guys? Like New Orleans, they have some pieces that teams would probably want for the stretch one, like CJ McCollum. Do the Pelicans trade him? What about Brandon Ingram? Do the Pelicans move him? So it should be interesting what some of these teams do as the deadline. I think it's within a week, I believe, a week or two before the NBA trade deadline. But that would do it for this recap of the Kings' loss in New York against the Knicks, 143-120. Kings look to bounce back and regroup Monday in Brooklyn against the Nets. We'll be back for another recap following Kings and Nets. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Be much appreciated. Would you like to see De'Aaron Fox take maybe a couple games off here to rest up? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're listening on your preferred audio platform, Apple, Spotify, hit that follow button. Please rate 5 stars. Leave a nice review, especially on Apple Podcasts, if you don't mind. And we're available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Kings Related. And we'll see you Monday night following Kings Nets. And go Kings.